When Elon Musk walked past Marcus Wellington at that investor event, he made the biggest mistake of his life. Marcus stood there with his hand out, ready to shake. But Elon, he just looked right through him like he was invisible, like he didn't even exist. What Elon didn't know was that Marcus Wellington wasn't just another investor trying to get his attention. Marcus was the owner of Wellington Minerals, a company so powerful, so essential that it controlled 40% of the rare earth materials that Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink desperately needed to survive. And the very next morning, Marcus made one phone call that changed everything. He cut off Elon's entire supply chain. No warning, no second chances, just gone. Suddenly, Tesla couldn't make batteries. SpaceX couldn't build rocket engines. Billions of dollars hung in the balance. And Elon Musk, the man who never begs for anything, found himself dialing Marcus's number with shaking hands, desperate for a meeting. But here's where this story gets really interesting. What Marcus did next wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about money. It was about something much deeper, something that started in a garage in Detroit with Marcus's father and ended with 50 young lives being changed forever. This is the story of one handshake that never happened, and how it led to a lesson about dignity, power, and what it really means to see people. Stay with me until the end, because what Marcus Wellington was really building will surprise you. This isn't just a story about business. It's a story about justice, invisible excellence, and the quiet power of knowing your worth even when others refuse to see it. Let's start from the beginning. Marcus Wellington straightened his navy blue tie one more time. His reflection stared back at him from the hotel bathroom mirror. At 45 years old, he had learned to prepare himself for moments like this. Take a deep breath, stand tall, remember who you are. Tonight was the SpaceX investor event at the Grand Lux Hotel in Los Angeles. Marcus had flown in from Detroit that morning. His briefcase held documents that could change everything. Documents that proved Wellington Minerals owned the mining rights to rare earth materials that companies like SpaceX desperately needed. But Marcus wasn't here to brag. He never did. His father had taught him better than that. "Son," his father used to say, "real power doesn't shout. Real power whispers." Marcus walked out of the bathroom and through the hotel lobby. His shoes clicked on the marble floor. Other investors filled the space. They wore expensive suits and confident smiles. They laughed loudly and slapped each other's backs. Marcus recognized some faces from business magazines, tech billionaires, oil company executives, people who had been rich their whole lives. Marcus had not been rich his whole life. Every dollar he had, he earned. Every opportunity he had, he created. And tonight, he would finally meet the man everyone was here to see, Elon Musk. The conference room doors opened at exactly 7 o'clock. A woman in a black dress checked names on a tablet. "Name, please." "Marcus Wellington, Wellington Minerals." She scrolled through her list. Her finger stopped. "Oh yes, welcome, Mr. Wellington, please go in." The room sparkled with crystal chandeliers. Round tables covered with white tablecloths filled the space. At each table sat 8 chairs. Waiters moved between tables carrying trays of champagne and small fancy foods that Marcus couldn't name. Marcus found his table near the back, not the front where the important people sat, not the middle where the regular investors gathered. The back. He had learned to expect this. He sat down and placed his briefcase carefully beside his chair. A woman with red hair sat to his left. A young man with glasses sat to his right. They both smiled politely, then turned to talk to other people. Marcus didn't mind. He was used to being alone in crowded rooms. At the front of the room, someone tapped a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elon Musk." Everyone stood and clapped. Marcus stood too. He watched as Elon walked onto the small stage. Elon wore jeans and a black t-shirt. His hair looked messy like he had just woken up, but his eyes looked sharp and intense. "Thank you all for coming," Elon said into the microphone. His voice was casual, like he was talking to friends. "We're doing incredible things at SpaceX, things people said were impossible, and you're all part of making it happen." For 20 minutes, Elon talked about rockets and Mars and the future of humanity. Marcus listened carefully. He understood most of it. He had studied SpaceX for years. He knew what materials they used. He knew what materials they needed. That's why he was here. When Elon finished speaking, everyone clapped again. Then Elon stepped off the stage. He moved through the crowd, shaking hands and talking to investors. Marcus watched him carefully. Elon stopped at the front tables first. He laughed with a gray-haired man in an expensive suit. He hugged a woman who owned a tech company. He posed for selfies with young investors who looked excited just to be near him. Slowly, Elon moved toward the middle tables. Marcus's heart beat faster. He had practiced what he would say. He would introduce himself. He would mention Wellington Minerals. He would ask for 5 minutes to talk about a business opportunity. Simple, professional, clear. Elon was getting closer now, 2 tables away. Then 1 table away, Marcus stood up. He smoothed his tie again. He took a deep breath. Elon reached Marcus's table. He was talking to the young man with glasses, laughing about something. Marcus waited for the right moment, then he stepped forward. "Mr. Musk," Marcus said. His voice was steady and calm. "My name is Marcus Wellington. I own Wellington Minerals. I'd like to talk to you about." Marcus extended his hand. Elon's eyes moved toward Marcus. For just 1 second, their eyes met. Marcus saw Elon's expression. It was blank, not curious, not interested, just blank. Then Elon's eyes moved past Marcus, like Marcus wasn't there at all, like Marcus was invisible. "Hey," Elon called out to someone behind Marcus. "Robert, good to see you, man." Elon stepped around Marcus without another look. He didn't say, "Excuse me." He didn't say one moment. He just walked past, leaving Marcus standing there with his hand still extended into empty air. Marcus froze. His hand hung in the space where Elon had been standing. Time seemed to slow down. He could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. He could feel the eyes of other people at his table watching him. The woman with red hair looked away quickly. The young man with glasses suddenly became very interested in his phone, but other people didn't look away. At the next table, 2 men in suits whispered to each other while glancing at Marcus. A woman nearby raised her eyebrows and shook her head slightly. They had all seen it. They had all watched Elon Musk look right through Marcus Wellington like he didn't exist. Marcus slowly lowered his hand. His fingers felt numb. A hot feeling spread through his chest. Embarrassment, shame, anger. All mixed together into something that burned. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. Growing up in Detroit, Marcus had learned early what it felt like to be invisible, to raise his hand in class and be ignored, to stand in line and watch the store clerk help the white customer behind him first, to work twice as hard and still be passed over. But Marcus thought those days were behind him. He thought that building a successful company, earning millions of dollars, wearing an expensive suit, he thought all of that would make him visible. He thought success would make people see him. He was wrong. Across the room, Elon was laughing with Robert, a white investor Marcus recognized from Forbes magazine. They were talking about golf. Elon's hand was on Robert's shoulder. They looked like old friends, even though Marcus knew they had only met a few times. Marcus could walk over there. He could interrupt them. He could demand to be heard. He could make a scene. But what would that accomplish? Elon would probably apologize, distracted and uncomfortable. People would remember Marcus as the angry black man who caused drama at the investor event. That story would spread faster than any business proposal he wanted to make. No, Marcus had learned better than that. His father had taught him better than that. "Son," his father's voice echoed in his memory, "dignity is more important than being right. Keep your head up, keep your power close. Let them underestimate you, then show them what you're really made of." Marcus sat back down at his table. He picked up his glass of water and took a slow sip. His hand was steady. No one watching him would know that inside, his heart was pounding. No one would see the mix of hurt and determination building in his chest. He opened his briefcase quietly. Inside were the documents about Wellington Minerals, mining rights in 6 countries, exclusive contracts for neodymium, dysprosium, and lithium, the exact materials that SpaceX needed for their rockets, the exact materials that Tesla needed for their car batteries, the exact materials that Starlink needed for their satellites. Marcus had spent 20 years building his company in silence. He never sought publicity. He never went on podcasts or gave interviews to magazines. He just worked. He acquired mining rights one piece at a time. He built relationships with governments in Africa and South America and Asia. He learned 6 languages so he could negotiate directly without translators. He had built something powerful, something essential, something that men like Elon Musk desperately needed. And Elon Musk had just looked right through him. Marcus closed his briefcase with a quiet click. He stood up from the table. No one at his table noticed him leave. They were all watching Elon, hoping for their turn to shake his hand. Marcus walked toward the exit. His head was high. His shoulders were back. He moved with the same dignity his father had carried, even on his worst days. At the door, Marcus stopped. He turned around one last time. Across the room, Elon was still laughing and shaking hands and taking selfies. He looked happy, successful, powerful. He had no idea what he had just done. He had no idea who he had just dismissed. Marcus felt something shift inside him, not anger, something deeper than anger, something patient and powerful and certain. He pulled out his phone and typed a message to his assistant. Tomorrow morning, cancel all contracts with SpaceX suppliers. Cut off the supply chain. It's time. He hit send. Then Marcus Wellington whispered to himself, so quietly that no one else could hear. He has no idea who I am. Tomorrow he'll find out. Marcus walked out of the hotel into the cool Los Angeles night. Behind him, the party continued. Music and laughter spilled out into the street. Inside that room, people were celebrating. They were making deals and building connections and feeling important. But Marcus knew something they didn't know. Something he had learned from his father, from years of being overlooked, from building power in the shadows while everyone else chased fame in the light. Real power isn't about who shakes your hand. Real power is about who needs you when you're gone. And starting tomorrow morning, Elon Musk was going to need Marcus Wellington more than he had ever needed anyone in his entire life. Marcus got into his car. He looked at himself in the rearview mirror. The same face he had seen in the hotel bathroom an hour ago, but something in his eyes had changed. There was a certainty there now, a knowing. His phone buzzed. His assistant had responded. Contracts canceled. Supply chains cut. It's done. Marcus started the engine. As he drove away from the Grand Lux Hotel, he thought about his father, about all the times his father had been dismissed and overlooked and treated as invisible, about how his father had still taught Marcus to build something real, something that mattered, something that couldn't be ignored. I'm about to build that table you told me about, Dad, Marcus said quietly to himself. And this time, they're going to be begging for a seat. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, the man who refused to shake Marcus Wellington's hand would be making a very different kind of phone call. But tonight, Marcus drove home in silence. He didn't celebrate. He didn't gloat. He just felt the quiet power of knowing that sometimes the person you ignore today is the person you'll need tomorrow. And when that moment comes, dignity matters more than revenge. Marcus smiled to himself in the darkness. Not a mean smile, not an angry smile. Just the small, knowing smile of someone who had finally learned his own worth, even when others couldn't see it. The game had changed. And this time, Marcus Wellington held all the cards. Marcus woke up at 5:30 in the morning, just like he did every day. The hotel room was dark and quiet. He lay in bed for a moment, staring at the ceiling. His phone sat on the nightstand, silent. By now, the orders he sent last night had gone through. Somewhere across the world, contracts were being canceled. Supply chains were being cut. And nobody knew why yet, but they would know soon. Marcus got up and walked to the window. Los Angeles was still sleeping. The sun hadn't risen yet. The city looked peaceful in the early morning darkness. Marcus remembered another city that looked like this. Another time when everything was about to change. Detroit, 35 years ago. Marcus had been 10 years old. His father, Samuel Wellington, worked 3 jobs to keep their family fed. During the day, Samuel worked at an auto factory. In the evenings, he fixed cars in their garage. Late at night, he cleaned office buildings downtown. Marcus almost never saw his father awake at home. Samuel was always working, always tired, always gone. One night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He heard noises coming from the garage. He walked downstairs in his pajamas and pushed open the garage door. His father was there, bent over the engine of an old Buick. Grease covered Samuel's hands and face. His eyes looked red and exhausted. Dad, Marcus said quietly, why are you still working? It's almost midnight. Samuel looked up. He smiled at his son, but the smile looked sad. Come here, Marcus, sit with me. Marcus sat on an old wooden stool. He watched his father's hands move expertly through the engine parts. Samuel's hands were rough and scarred, but they moved with confidence and skill. Marcus, his father said without looking up, let me tell you something important. Something you need to remember your whole life. Okay, Dad. People are going to look at you and think they know who you are. They're going to see your skin color before they see your mind. They're going to see where you come from before they see where you're going. And son, that's going to hurt. That's going to make you angry. Marcus didn't fully understand, but he nodded anyway. Samuel put down his wrench and looked at his son. But here's what I learned. Real power isn't loud. Real power doesn't beg to be seen. Real power is quiet. You build it where they can't see it. You build it in the dark, in the garage, in the places nobody's watching. And then one day, when they finally need what you built, they'll have no choice but to see you. But Dad, you're so smart. You're the best mechanic in Detroit. Why don't people see that? Samuel's jaw tightened. Some people don't want to see, Marcus, and you can't force someone to open their eyes. All you can do is build something so bright, so necessary, that even closed eyes can't ignore it. Young Marcus didn't know it then, but that conversation would shape his entire life. Now, 35 years later, Marcus stood in a Los Angeles hotel room, remembering his father's words. He had built something bright. He had built something necessary. And today, the people who had looked through him yesterday would finally see. Marcus showered and dressed carefully. Another navy suit, another crisp white shirt, another perfectly tied tie. He looked at himself in the mirror and saw his father's eyes staring back at him. "I'm doing it, Dad," he whispered, "just like you taught me." His phone buzzed. A text from his assistant, Jennifer. "Emergency board meeting at 8 a.m. All major clients requesting calls. What should I tell them?" Marcus typed back, "Tell them I'm in meetings all day. They can wait." Made himself a cup of coffee from the hotel room machine. It tasted bitter, but he didn't mind. He sat by the window and watched the sun rise over Los Angeles. The city was waking up now. Cars filled the streets. People rushed to work. Somewhere out there, Elon Musk was probably still sleeping, not knowing that his day was about to fall apart. Marcus thought back to the moment that changed everything. The moment he decided to build his own company instead of trying to fit into someone else's. He had been 23 years old, fresh out of college with a degree in geology. Marcus had graduated top of his class. He had perfect grades. He had 3 job offers from mining companies. He chose the biggest one, American Mining Corporation. They promised him a good salary and a chance to move up quickly. Marcus was excited. Finally, his hard work would pay off. Finally, people would see his talent. His first day, the boss, Mr. Brennan, showed him around the office. Marcus was the only black person there, but he told himself that didn't matter. His work would speak for itself. For 6 months, Marcus worked harder than anyone else. He came early and stayed late. He found ways to make the mining operations more efficient. He discovered new deposits that could save the company millions of dollars. But when promotion time came, they gave the job to Derek, a white man who had started 3 months after Marcus. Derek was nice enough, but he didn't have Marcus's skills or knowledge. He hadn't found any new deposits. He hadn't improved any operations. Marcus went to Mr. Brennan's office. He tried to stay calm, but his hands were shaking. "Mr. Brennan, can I ask why Derek got the promotion instead of me?" Mr. Brennan looked uncomfortable. He shuffled papers on his desk. "Well, Marcus, you're doing good work, but Derek, he fits better with the team. He plays golf with the clients. He goes to the same church as some of our investors. These things matter in business." Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. "So my work doesn't matter." "Your work matters," Mr. Brennan said quickly. "But other things matter too. Just keep working hard. Your time will come." But Marcus knew his time would never come. Not there. Not in a place where fitting in mattered more than being excellent. That night, Marcus went home to the small apartment he shared with 2 roommates. He sat at his tiny desk and made a decision. He would leave American Mining Corporation. He would start his own company. It would take years. It would be hard. He would probably fail, but at least he would fail on his own terms. Marcus spent the next 3 years learning everything he could about the mining business. He worked during the day and studied at night. He learned about international law and trade agreements. He taught himself Spanish, then Portuguese, then Mandarin. He saved every penny. He slept on friends' couches. He ate ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches. He wore the same 3 shirts over and over. People thought he was crazy. His mother worried about him. His friends asked when he was going to get a real job. But Marcus remembered his father's words, "Build it where they can't see it." 26, Marcus bought his first mining rights. It was a small deposit in Montana. Nothing special, but it was his. He registered his company, Wellington Minerals. For 2 years, he ran that small operation. He learned how to negotiate with suppliers. He learned how to manage workers. He learned how to survive when money was tight and nothing seemed to be working. Then he got his big break. A geologist friend told him about mining rights for sale in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The area was rich in coltan, a mineral used in cell phones and computers, but it was dangerous. Unstable government, armed groups, other companies were afraid to operate there. Marcus wasn't afraid. He flew to Congo with the last of his savings. He met with local leaders. He learned Lingala, the local language. He showed respect. He listened more than he talked, and he made a deal. The coltan from that mine made Marcus his first $1 million. But more importantly, it taught him something crucial. While big companies were afraid of risk, he could go places they wouldn't go. He could build relationships they couldn't build. Over the next 15 years, Marcus expanded quietly. He bought mining rights in Bolivia for lithium, in China for rare earth minerals, in Australia for neodymium, in South Africa for platinum. He never made big announcements. He never went on TV. He never tried to become famous. He just worked. He built. He grew. Big companies didn't notice him. Why would they? They were busy being loud and important. They were busy shaking hands with politicians and appearing on magazine covers. They didn't see the quiet man from Detroit who was slowly, carefully building control over some of the most important materials on Earth. Marcus created shell companies and subsidiaries. Most people didn't know that 5 different mining suppliers were all owned by the same person. They didn't know that Wellington Minerals controlled supply chains across 6 continents. By the time Marcus was 40, he was worth $200 million, but nobody knew his name. When he walked into investor meetings, people assumed he was someone's assistant. When he sat in restaurants, waiters brought him the check before the white men at his table, and Marcus let them think whatever they wanted, because he remembered his father's lesson: let them underestimate you. Build your power in the dark. Wait for the right moment. The right moment came 3 years ago. Marcus was reading a business article about electric vehicles. Tesla was growing fast, so were other electric car companies. They all needed the same thing: batteries. And batteries needed lithium, cobalt, nickel, and rare earth minerals. Marcus looked at his company's holdings. He owned or controlled most of the mining rights for these exact materials, and the demand was about to explode. For 3 years, Marcus prepared. He studied every major tech company. He learned what materials they needed. He figured out their supply chains. He identified their weaknesses. SpaceX needed neodymium for rocket engines. Tesla needed lithium for batteries. Starlink needed rare earth minerals for satellites. Apple needed coltan for iPhones. Samsung needed platinum for electronics. And Marcus owned the sources for all of it. He set up contracts with middleman companies. He made sure the big tech firms never knew where their materials really came from. They thought they were dealing with different suppliers. They had no idea one man controlled it all. Marcus became invisible on purpose. He became the ghost in the machine, the man behind the curtain. And last night, when Elon Musk looked right through him like he didn't exist, Marcus realized the moment had finally come. The moment his father had told him about. The moment when closed eyes couldn't ignore him anymore. Marcus's phone rang. It was Jennifer, his assistant. "Marcus, I have 17 messages from companies requesting immediate calls. 3 of them are from SpaceX, 2 from Tesla. They all sound urgent." "How urgent?" Marcus asked calmly. "Very. They're saying words like crisis and emergency and immediate attention required." Marcus smiled. "Good. Let them wait a little longer. I have someone I need to visit first." "Who?" "My father's grave. I want to tell him the table is ready." Marcus hung up and grabbed his rental car keys. He had one more stop to make before the real game began. One more conversation to have with the man who taught him everything. Outside his hotel window, Los Angeles was fully awake now. Somewhere in this city, phones were ringing in Elon Musk's offices. People were panicking. Schedules were falling apart. Billions of dollars were hanging in the balance. But Marcus wasn't in a hurry. His father had taught him that real power is patient. Real power can wait. The world had ignored Marcus Wellington for 45 years. They could wait a few more hours to learn his name. Marcus walked out of his hotel room with his head high and his purpose clear. The man nobody saw was about to become the man everyone needed. And this time, when he extended his hand, people would reach back. Elon Musk didn't sleep much. He never did. 4 hours was normal for him. His mind moved too fast for sleep. There were rockets to build, cars to design, problems to solve. But this morning, when his phone started ringing at 6:15, even Elon knew something was wrong. The first call came from Sarah Chen, head of Tesla's battery division. "Elon, we have a serious problem," Sarah said. Her voice sounded tight and worried. "Our lithium supplier just canceled our contract. No warning, no explanation, just canceled." Elon sat up in bed. "What do you mean canceled? We have a 3-year contract." "They're invoking the termination clause. They're allowed to cancel with 24 hours notice if they can't fulfill the order. They're saying they can't fulfill it." "That's ridiculous. Find another supplier." "I'm trying, but Elon, it's not just lithium. Our cobalt supplier canceled too. So did our nickel supplier, all this morning, all at the same time." Elon's mind started racing. "That's not a coincidence." "No," Sarah said quietly, "it's not." Before Elon could respond, another call beeped in. "James Rodriguez from SpaceX. Sarah, let me call you back." Elon switched lines. "James, what's wrong?" "We've got a crisis. Our neodymium supplier just cut us off. We can't build the Raptor engines without neodymium. The launch scheduled for next month is in jeopardy." Elon's stomach dropped. "How much neodymium do we have in stock?" "Enough for 2 weeks, maybe 3 if we stretch it." "Find another supplier today." "I'm trying, but..." Another call beeped, then another, then another. For the next 30 minutes, Elon's phone didn't stop ringing. Every division of every company was calling with the same message. Suppliers were canceling contracts. Materials were being cut off. Production was grinding to a halt. Tesla couldn't make batteries. SpaceX couldn't build engines. Starlink couldn't manufacture satellites. Everything was connected and everything was falling apart at the same time. Elon got dressed quickly and drove to the Tesla headquarters in Palo Alto. By the time he arrived, his conference room was full of worried executives. "Talk to me," Elon said, walking into the room. "What exactly is happening?" Sarah pulled up a presentation on the screen. "Here's what we know. Starting at midnight last night, 12 different suppliers across 6 countries canceled their contracts with us. All of them supply rare earth minerals and battery materials." "Who are these suppliers?" Elon asked. Sarah clicked to the next slide. It showed a list of company names. "They're all small to medium-sized operations. We've worked with most of them for 3 to 5 years. No problems, good relationships. And then suddenly, all at once, they all cancel." James from SpaceX spoke up. "It's the same on our end. Different suppliers, but the same materials. Neodymium, dysprosium, praseodymium. All the rare earth elements we need for our rocket engines." Elon stared at the screen. His brain worked through the problem like a computer. "This is coordinated. Someone is behind this. Find out who owns these suppliers." A young analyst named Kevin started typing on his laptop. "I'm checking the business registrations now. Let me trace the ownership structures." The room fell quiet. Everyone watched Kevin work. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Minutes passed. "This is strange," Kevin said slowly. "These companies all look independent on the surface. Different names, different countries, different registration dates. But when I dig deeper into the ownership structures..." "What?" Elon leaned forward. "They all connect back to parent companies, and those parent companies connect to holding companies, and those holding companies..." Kevin's eyes widened. "They all lead back to one name, Wellington Minerals." "Who the hell is Wellington Minerals?" Elon asked. Sarah was already searching on her phone. "It's a private company, headquarters in Detroit. Owner and CEO is..." She stopped reading. Her face went pale. "What?" Elon said. "Who owns it?" Sarah turned her phone around. On the screen was a business profile with a photo. The photo showed a black man in a navy suit with intelligent eyes and a slight smile. "Marcus Wellington," Sarah read. 45 years old, geologist by training. Founded Wellington Minerals 20 years ago. The company operates in 6 countries and holds mining rights to some of the largest deposits of rare earth minerals in the world. Elon stared at the photo. Something about the face looked familiar. Where had he seen this man before? "There's more," Kevin said, still typing. "Wellington Minerals doesn't just own those 12 suppliers. They own or control at least 30 different mining operations. They've been acquiring rights quietly for 2 decades, and according to this industry report, they control approximately 40% of the global supply of rare earth minerals used in batteries and electronics. The room went completely silent. 40%, James whispered. How did we not know this? Because they stayed quiet, Sarah said, reading more from her phone. There's almost no press about this company, no interviews with the owner, no magazine profiles. They just operated under the radar. Elon kept staring at Marcus Wellington's photo, that face, those eyes. Where had he? And then he remembered, last night, the investor event, the man who had tried to shake his hand, the man Elon had walked past without a second thought. Elon's blood ran cold. "Oh no," he said quietly. "What?" Sarah asked. "I met him last night at the SpaceX investor event." Elon's voice sounded hollow. He tried to introduce himself. He said his name was Marcus Wellington. He said he owned Wellington Minerals. He wanted to talk to me about something. The room waited, and I walked past him, Elon finished. I didn't shake his hand, I didn't listen, I just walked away. Sarah closed her eyes. James put his head in his hands. "So this is revenge," Kevin said. "He's cutting us off because you ignored him." "It's not just revenge," Sarah said, looking at more information on her phone. "This is strategic. If Wellington Minerals controls 40% of the rare earth supply and they're cutting us off, they're probably cutting off our competitors too. Or maybe they're making deals with our competitors. Either way, we're in serious trouble." Elon stood up and walked to the window. Outside, employees were arriving for work. They had no idea that their jobs, their projects, their dreams of Mars and electric cars and satellite internet, all of it was in danger because Elon had been too arrogant to shake one man's hand. "How bad is it?" Elon asked quietly. "Give me the numbers." Sarah pulled up another slide. "If we can't get materials within 2 weeks, Tesla will have to pause production at 3 factories. That's 12,000 workers sent home. That's 50,000 cars we won't build. That's approximately $2 billion in lost revenue per month." James added his numbers. "SpaceX has 4 launches scheduled in the next 60 days. Without neodymium, we can't build the engines. We'll have to delay or cancel all 4 launches. Our contracts have penalty clauses. We could lose our launch slots. Competitors could take our customers. This could set us back years." "What about our current stockpiles?" Elon asked. "Can we stretch what we have?" "We've already done the math," Sarah said. "Even if we ration everything perfectly, we have maybe 3 weeks, a month at most. After that, everything stops." Elon felt something he rarely felt, helplessness. He had solved impossible problems before. He had built companies that everyone said would fail. He had landed rockets that engineers said couldn't be landed. He had done things people called crazy and impossible, but this was different. This wasn't an engineering problem. This wasn't about designing a better rocket or a faster car. This was about a man Elon had disrespected. A man who now held the future of all of Elon's companies in his hands. "We need to contact him," Elon said. "Right now, find his number, find his email, find any way to reach him." Kevin was already searching. "I have a phone number for Wellington Minerals headquarters in Detroit. Should I call?" "Yes, put it on speaker." Kevin dialed. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times, then a woman's voice answered. "Wellington Minerals, this is Jennifer speaking. How may I help you?" "This is Kevin Park calling from Tesla. I need to speak with Marcus Wellington immediately. It's urgent." "I'm sorry, but Mr. Wellington is in meetings all day. Would you like to leave a message?" Kevin looked at Elon. Elon grabbed the phone. "This is Elon Musk. I need to speak with Marcus Wellington right now. It's extremely important." There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Jennifer spoke again, her voice was cooler. "Mr. Musk, I see. Please hold." The line went quiet. 30 seconds passed, then a minute, then 2 minutes. Finally, Jennifer came back. "Mr. Wellington is not available to take your call at this time. However, he asked me to give you a message." Elon's jaw tightened. "What's the message?" "Mr. Wellington said to tell you that he remembers trying to shake your hand last night. He remembers you walking away. And he said that today, he's the one who's busy. But if you'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss your supply chain crisis, He can make time for you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. The meeting will be at his office in Los Angeles." The room was completely silent. Every executive was staring at Elon. "Tell him I'll be there," Elon said quietly. "He thought you might say that. The address is 1247 Wilshire Boulevard, 15th floor. Please arrive on time. Mr. Wellington values punctuality." The line went dead. Elon set the phone down slowly. His hands were shaking slightly, not from anger, from something else, from the realization that he had made a terrible mistake, from the understanding that his arrogance, his habit of only seeing what he wanted to see, had created a crisis that could destroy everything he had built. "What do we do now?" Sarah asked quietly. Elon looked at Marcus Wellington's photo still on the screen. The man's eyes seemed to look right through him. Confident, patient, powerful. "Now," Elon said, "I learned the name of the man I should have listened to yesterday. And tomorrow I go to his office and hope he's willing to give me a second chance." "And if he's not?" James asked. Elon didn't answer because he didn't know. For the first time in his life, Elon Musk was facing a problem he couldn't engineer his way out of. A problem that depended entirely on another person's mercy. A person he had treated as invisible. The morning sun was fully up now. Outside the window, California looked beautiful and bright. But inside this conference room, Elon felt darkness closing in. He had 24 hours to figure out what to say to Marcus Wellington. 24 hours to find words that could undo the damage of one moment of disrespect. 24 hours to learn that sometimes, the person you ignore today is the person who controls your tomorrow. And there was nothing Elon could do except wait and hope and prepare to do something he rarely did. Apologize. 23 hours and 14 minutes. That's how long Elon had to wait before his meeting with Marcus Wellington. He spent most of that time trying to fix the unfixable. His team called every rare earth mineral supplier in the world. Most were already under contract with other companies. The few that were available wanted triple the normal price. Even then, they couldn't provide enough materials fast enough. Elon barely slept. At 3 in the morning, he sat alone in his office, staring at his computer screen. He had pulled up everything he could find about Marcus Wellington. There wasn't much. A few business registrations, some mining permits filed in different countries, one photo from a geology conference 10 years ago. Marcus stood in the back row, barely visible behind taller white men in the front. Invisible, Elon thought. He made himself invisible on purpose. At 6 a.m., Elon was still awake. He had written and deleted 15 different speeches, apologies, explanations, business proposals. Nothing sounded right. Everything sounded hollow. How do you apologize for treating someone like they don't exist? At 9 a.m., Elon's phone rang. It was his mother. "Elon, I saw the news about the supply problems. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Mom." "You don't sound fine. What happened?" Elon hesitated. His mother had always been able to read him, even over the phone. "I made a mistake, a bad one." "What kind of mistake?" "The kind that happens when you stop seeing people as people." Elon's voice cracked slightly. "There was a man at an event. He wanted to talk to me. He extended his hand, and I just walked past him like he wasn't there." His mother was quiet for a moment. "Was he black?" The question hit Elon like a punch. "How did you know?" "Because I know what that looks like, Elon. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me." His mother's voice was soft but firm. "When I first came to Canada from South Africa, people looked through me all the time. I was a model, but I was also an immigrant. I was different. And some people, they decided I wasn't worth seeing." "Mom, I'm not like that. I don't care about." "I know you don't care about race, Elon, not consciously. But that's not the same as seeing people, really seeing them. You move so fast, you're focused on so many things. Sometimes you forget to stop and look at who's standing right in front of you." Elon closed his eyes. "He controls 40% of the materials I need, Mom. The materials for Tesla, for SpaceX, for everything. And I walked past him." "Then you need to do more than apologize. You need to understand what you did. Not just that you hurt his business feelings. You made him invisible. And for someone who has probably been made invisible their whole life, that cuts deep." "I have a meeting with him today at 2. I don't know what to say." "Don't say what you think he wants to hear. Say what's true. And Elon, listen more than you talk. For once in your life, listen first." They talked for a few more minutes, then hung up. Elon sat at his desk thinking about his mother's words. At 11 a.m., Elon decided he couldn't wait anymore. He picked up his phone and dialed Marcus Wellington's number directly. The same number Jennifer had given him yesterday. The phone rang, once, twice. Then Marcus's voice answered. "Hello, Mr. Musk." Elon's throat went dry. He hadn't expected Marcus to answer personally. "Mr. Wellington, thank you for taking my call." "I almost didn't." Marcus's voice was calm and steady. Not angry, not friendly, just neutral. "But I was curious what you'd say with 24 hours to think about it. I want to apologize for yesterday, for not shaking your hand, for walking past you like you weren't there." "You want to apologize," Marcus repeated, "or you need to apologize?" The question hung in the air. Elon felt his face get hot. "Both. I need to because my companies depend on your materials, but I want to because what I did was wrong, regardless of business. It was wrong as a human being." "Tell me what was wrong about it." Elon stood up and walked to his office window. "I dismissed you. I saw someone I didn't recognize, someone who didn't fit my mental picture of important, and I decided you weren't worth my time. I made that judgment in half a second, and I was completely wrong." "You were wrong about what exactly?" Marcus's voice was still neutral, still testing. "I was wrong about you, about your importance, about—" "No," Marcus interrupted. "That's not what I asked. Try again." Elon stopped. His brain worked through the question. What was Marcus really asking? "I was wrong," Elon said slowly, "to think that my time was more valuable than yours. I was wrong to treat you as invisible. I was wrong to judge your worth based on whether I recognized you." "Better," Marcus said, "but you're still not there yet." Elon felt frustration rising. He pushed it down. "Listen," his mother had said. "Listen first." "Help me understand," Elon said. "What am I missing?" There was a long pause. When Marcus spoke again, his voice had something new in it. Not anger, something deeper, something that sounded like pain. "Mr. Musk, do you know what it's like to be invisible? Not just ignored, invisible. To stand in a room full of people and have them look right through you like you're air. To have intelligence, knowledge, power, and have none of it matter because of how you look." "No," Elon admitted quietly, "I don't. I didn't think so. See, you were wrong about something bigger than business. You were wrong to think that your success gives you the right to decide who matters. You were wrong to move through the world like only certain people deserve your attention. And most of all, you were wrong to assume that the person you ignored yesterday couldn't be the person holding your future today." Elon sat back down, his hands were shaking. "You're right about all of it." "I know I'm right," Marcus said. "The question is, do you understand why it matters? Or are you just saying words because you need something from me?" "Yesterday," Elon said carefully, "I would have been saying words. Today I'm trying to understand. My mother called me this morning. She's an immigrant. She told me about times when people looked through her, made her invisible. And I realized I did that to you, not because I'm racist, but because I was careless with someone else's dignity." "Careless," Marcus repeated. "That's an interesting word." "It's the truth. I was careless. I was moving fast, focused on who I wanted to talk to, and I didn't see you. I didn't see a person who spent 20 years building something important. I didn't see someone who deserved basic respect. I just saw nothing." The line went quiet. Elon could hear Marcus breathing on the other end. "Mr. Musk," Marcus finally said, "do you know what my father used to tell me?" "No." "He worked 3 jobs, hard jobs, jobs that destroyed his body. And every single day people treated him like he was invisible, bosses who didn't learn his name, customers who looked past him, coworkers who got promoted while he stayed in the same position for 20 years. And you know what he told me?" He said, "Son, real power isn't loud. Real power is quiet. Build it where they can't see it. And one day they'll have no choice but to see you." Elon closed his eyes. "He was teaching you to be patient. He was teaching me that my worth doesn't depend on whether people like you notice me. He was teaching me to build something so essential, so undeniable, that even closed eyes would have to open." "And you did," Elon said. "You built exactly that." "Yes, I did. For 20 years I built it. While men like you were on magazine covers and giving TED Talks, I was in Bolivia negotiating mining rights. I was in Congo building relationships with local leaders. I was in China learning Mandarin so I could do business without a translator. I built power in the shadows while you built fame in the light. Why? Elon asked. Why stay invisible? Why not make yourself known? Marcus laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Because I learned early that being visible as a black man often means being a target. It means being questioned, doubted, investigated. It means people assuming you cheated or got lucky instead of worked hard. So I stayed quiet. I built quietly, and I waited for the right moment. Yesterday was the right moment, Elon said. Yesterday was the perfect moment, because you showed me exactly who you are when you don't think anyone important is watching. You showed me that even a genius, even someone who wants to save humanity and go to Mars, can still look at another human being and decide they don't matter. Elon felt tears in his eyes. He blinked them away. I'm sorry, truly sorry, not because of business, because I hurt you, because I made you feel invisible, because I failed a basic test of decency. The line was quiet again. Then Marcus spoke and his voice was softer now. Mr. Musk, I believe you. I believe you're sorry, but sorry doesn't change what happened, and it doesn't answer the bigger question. What question? If we do business together, if I restore your supply chains, will you remember this feeling? Will you remember what it cost you to be careless with someone's dignity? Or will you go back to moving too fast and looking past people who don't fit your mental picture of important? Elon thought about it, really thought about it. I don't know, he admitted. I want to say yes, I want to promise I'll never do it again. But honest answer, I might. Not because I'm a bad person, but because I'm human, and humans forget. We get busy. We slip back into old patterns. At least you're honest, Marcus said. But, Elon continued, I can promise to try. I can promise that this moment changed something in me. And I can promise that if you give me a second chance, I won't waste it. Marcus didn't respond right away. Elon waited, his heart pounding. Our meeting is still on for 2 o'clock, Marcus finally said. Come to my office. Come alone. No lawyers, no assistants, no entourage, just you and me, and Mr. Musk. Yes. When you walk into my office, I'm going to extend my hand, just like I did yesterday. And this time, you're going to shake it. You're going to look me in the eye, and you're going to see me, really see me, not as someone you need, as someone who matters regardless of what I can do for you. Can you do that? Elon's voice was barely a whisper. Yes, I can do that. Good, I'll see you at 2. The line went dead. Elon sat in his office for a long time after the call ended. He felt exhausted, like he'd just run a marathon, but he also felt something else, something like hope. Marcus Wellington could have destroyed him, could have cut him off permanently, could have sold materials to Elon's competitors and watched Tesla and SpaceX crumble, but he hadn't. Instead, he'd given Elon something more valuable than rare earth minerals. He'd given him a lesson, a chance to understand. A moment to see his own blindness clearly. Elon looked at the clock, 3 hours and 46 minutes until the meeting. This time he would be ready. This time he would see. Marcus hung up the phone and sat back in his leather chair. Through the window of his Lowe's Angels office, he could see the city stretching out below him. 15 floors up, the world looked small and organized. From up here, you couldn't see the faces. You couldn't see the struggles. You couldn't see the invisible people. Marcus never forgot they were there, because he used to be one of them. He stood and walked to the window, pressing his hand against the cool glass. The phone call with Elon had gone exactly as he expected. Apologies, explanations, promises to do better. Marcus had heard it all before, but there was something in Elon's voice, something real. When he admitted he might forget again, might slip back into old patterns, that honesty meant something. Most people would have made big promises they couldn't keep. Elon admitted his weakness. That took courage. Marcus's assistant, Jennifer, knocked on the door. Mr. Wellington, do you need anything before the meeting? No, thank you, Jennifer. I'm just thinking. About the meeting. About my father. Marcus turned from the window. Did I ever tell you about the day I almost gave up? Jennifer shook her head. In 5 years of working for Marcus, he had never shared personal stories. Sit down, Marcus said. I think I need to tell someone. Jennifer sat in one of the office chairs. Marcus sat across from her, not behind his desk, just two people talking. "I was 16 years old," Marcus began. "It was summer in Detroit, hot, the kind of heat that makes everything feel heavy. My father had been working at the Morrison Auto Factory for 12 years. He was one of the best workers they had. Everyone knew it." Marcus paused, remembering. The factory manager position opened up. My dad applied. He was perfect for it. He knew every machine in that factory. He had ideas for making production more efficient. He had the respect of the other workers. "Did he get the job?" Jennifer asked quietly. Marcus shook his head. "They gave it to Roger Callahan. Roger was 26 years old. He'd been working there for 2 years. He was the nephew of one of the owners. He didn't know half of what my father knew, but he was white, he had connections, and he went to the right church." Jennifer's face showed understanding. She was black too. She knew this story. Maybe not the exact details, but the shape of it. She'd lived her own version. "The day they announced Roger got the job, my father came home early. I was in the garage working on a car engine. He taught me everything about cars. It was our time together since he worked so much." Marcus's voice got quieter. He walked into the garage still wearing his work clothes. His face looked empty, like something had died inside him. I'd never seen him look like that before. "What did you say?" Jennifer asked. "I didn't say anything at first. I just waited. And then he sat down on the garage floor right there in his work clothes and he started to cry. My father, the strongest man I knew, crying on the garage floor." Marcus's eyes were wet now, but he didn't wipe the tears away. "I was 16. I didn't know what to do. I sat down next to him and I just sat there. We sat together in silence for maybe 10 minutes. Then he looked at me and said, 'I'm sorry, son.'" "What did he have to be sorry for?" Jennifer whispered. "That's exactly what I asked." "And you know what he said? He said, 'I'm sorry I can't show you a world where hard work matters more than the color of your skin. I'm sorry I can't protect you from what's coming. Because Marcus, it's going to happen to you too. Maybe not the same way, maybe worse, maybe different, but it's going to happen, and I'm sorry.'" Marcus stood and walked back to the window. "I got so angry, Jennifer, angrier than I'd ever been in my life. I told him it wasn't fair. I told him he should fight back, should sue them, should do something. I was young and stupid, and I thought anger could fix everything." "What did he say?" "He stood up, he wiped his eyes, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, 'Marcus, come with me. I need to show you something.'" Marcus smiled at the memory. "It was 8 o'clock at night. We got in his old truck and he drove me to the Morrison factory. He parked across the street where we could see inside through the windows. The night shift was working. Men were at their stations, building cars, doing the work that made Detroit run. We sat there for maybe 20 minutes just watching. Then my father pointed to a tall white man near the assembly line. He said, 'You see that man? That's Roger Callahan, the man who got my job. Watch him.'" Jennifer leaned forward. "What happened?" "Roger was walking around with a clipboard trying to look important, but he didn't know what he was doing. A machine broke down. The workers stopped. Roger stood there looking confused, talking to different people, checking his clipboard. The line was stopped for 15 minutes while Roger tried to figure out what to do." Marcus turned to face Jennifer. "Then my father pointed to another man, a black man named William who worked maintenance. William walked over to the broken machine, looked at it for maybe 30 seconds, reached inside and fixed it, just like that. The machine started running again. The line moved. Production continued." "And Roger took credit," Jennifer guessed. "Roger didn't even notice what William did. He was too busy looking at his clipboard, but my father noticed, and he wanted me to see it." Marcus sat down again. "We drove home in silence. When we got back to the garage, my father finally explained what he wanted me to understand. He said, 'Son, did you see what happened tonight?' I said, 'Yes, I saw William fix the machine.' And my father said, 'You saw more than that. You saw that Roger has the title, but William has the knowledge. Roger has the office, but William has the power. Because without William, that factory stops. Without Roger, it runs just fine.'" Jennifer nodded slowly. "Your father was teaching you about real power." "Exactly. He said, 'Marcus, the world isn't fair. That's the truth. You can spend your whole life being angry about it, or you can do something smarter. You can build the kind of power they can't take away. The kind of power that doesn't depend on titles or offices or who you know. The kind of power that comes from being essential. Marcus stood and walked to his desk. He opened a drawer and pulled out an old, worn photograph. He handed it to Jennifer. The photo showed a younger Marcus, maybe 19 years old, standing next to his father in front of the garage. Both were smiling. Both had grease on their hands. That was taken 3 months before my father died. Heart attack. All those years of working 3 jobs finally caught up with him. He was 52 years old. "I'm sorry," Jennifer said softly. "Thank you, but here's what I want you to understand. My father never became a factory manager. He never got the respect he deserved at Morrison. He died without ever being seen by the people who should have seen him. But he taught me something that changed my entire life." Marcus took the photo back and looked at it. "He taught me that invisible doesn't mean powerless. He taught me to build in the shadows. He taught me patience. And most importantly, he taught me that my worth doesn't come from whether people like Elon Musk notice me. My worth comes from what I build when nobody's watching." Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "Is that why you stayed out of the spotlight? Why you built Wellington Minerals so quietly?" "Yes, I could have been loud. I could have gone on TV and talked about my success. I could have written books and given speeches and made sure everyone knew my name. But I remembered what my father showed me. Roger had the title. William had the power. I chose to be William." "But now everyone's going to know your name," Jennifer said. "After this situation with Elon Musk, the press will find out. You won't be invisible anymore." Marcus smiled. "I know, and that's okay, because I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing this because my father died believing the world would never see him, and I'm going to make sure it never happens again. Not to me, not to kids who look like me, not to anyone." He walked back to the window. "When Elon Musk walks into this office at 2 o'clock, he's going to see me, really see me. Not because he needs my materials, but because I'm going to make him understand what it means to be invisible. And then I'm going to show him how we make sure the next generation never has to feel that way." Jennifer stood. "What are you going to ask for in the negotiation?" Marcus shook his head. "It's not a negotiation, Jennifer. It's a lesson, and the price of that lesson isn't money." "Then what is it?" "Change, real change. The kind my father never got to see but always hoped for." Jennifer smiled. "Your father would be proud of you." Marcus looked at the photograph again. His father's face, forever young in that moment, smiled back at him. "I hope so. Everything I've built, I built for him. Every mine I acquired, every contract I negotiated, every dollar I earned. It was all to prove that his lesson worked, that invisible people can build undeniable power." He placed the photograph carefully back in his desk drawer. "My father taught me to build my own table. Today, I'm going to use that table to pull up chairs for everyone who needs one." Jennifer walked to the door, then turned back. "Mr. Wellington, can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Are you angry at Elon Musk, at all the people who looked past you?" Marcus thought about it, really thought about it. "No, I used to be. When I was 16, sitting in that garage with my crying father, I was furious. I wanted to burn the whole world down. But anger is exhausting, Jennifer. It eats you from the inside. My father taught me something better than anger." "What's that?" "Dignity, patience, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing your worth even when others don't see it. Those things built Wellington Minerals. Anger couldn't have done that. Anger would have made me loud and reckless and easy to dismiss. But patience and dignity, those made me powerful." Jennifer nodded. 2 o'clock is in 90 minutes. Do you need anything?" "Just one thing. When Elon Musk arrives, I want you to bring him up personally. No security escort, no formal reception, just you and him in the elevator. And when you get to this floor, I want to be standing right there when the doors open." "Why?" Marcus smiled. "Because yesterday he didn't see me standing in front of him. Today, I want to make sure he can't miss me. I want to be the first thing he sees. And this time I'm going to extend my hand, just like I did yesterday, and we'll see if he learned anything in the last 24 hours. Jennifer smiled. I understand. I'll make sure everything is perfect." After Jennifer left, Marcus sat alone in his office. He had 90 minutes before the meeting that would change everything. 90 minutes to think about his father, about the journey from that garage in Detroit to this office in Los Angeles, about all the invisible people who built their power quietly while the world looked the other way. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened his photos. He scrolled back years until he found what he was looking for: a video. His father recorded on Marcus's old phone just weeks before he died. Marcus pressed play. His father's face filled the screen, older, tired, but smiling. "Marcus, my son, if you're watching this, I'm probably gone, and I want you to know something important." Marcus had watched this video 100 times. He knew every word, but he needed to hear it again today. "The world didn't see me, Marcus. That's okay. I didn't build for the world to see. I built for you to see. I built to teach you that real power is quiet, that dignity matters more than recognition, that your worth isn't something others give you, it's something you know in your bones." His father leaned closer to the camera. "You're going to do great things, son. Things I couldn't do, places I couldn't go. And when you get there, when you have the power I never had, I want you to remember something." Marcus whispered along with his father's next words. "Don't use your power to hurt. Use it to teach. Use it to lift. Use it to make sure the next kid in the garage with his father doesn't have to watch him cry." The video ended. Marcus sat in silence, tears running down his face. "I hear you, Dad," Marcus whispered. "I'm building that table, just like you taught me, and today I start pulling up chairs." He wiped his eyes and stood tall. In 60 minutes, Elon Musk would walk through his door. In 60 minutes, the lesson would begin. And this time, Marcus Wellington would make sure he was impossible to ignore. At exactly 1:45 p.m., Elon Musk's car pulled up to 1247 Wilshire Boulevard. He sat in the driver's seat for a moment, staring at the building. It was simple, clean, modern but not flashy. Nothing about it screamed wealth or power. Just a normal office building in downtown Los Angeles. Elon had arrived alone, just as Marcus had asked. No assistants, no lawyers, no bodyguards, just him. He checked his reflection in the mirror one more time. He'd worn his best suit instead of his usual t-shirt and jeans. Somehow it felt important to show respect, to show he was taking this seriously. At 1:50 p.m., Elon walked through the lobby doors. A security guard at the desk looked up. "Elon Musk," Elon said. "I have a 2 o'clock meeting with Marcus Wellington." The guard picked up a phone. "Mr. Musk is here." He listened, then nodded. "Someone will be down to get you. Please have a seat." Elon sat in one of the lobby chairs. His leg bounced nervously. His mind raced through everything he wanted to say, the apology he'd rehearsed, the business proposal he'd prepared, the promises he'd made to himself. At 1:55 p.m., the elevator doors opened. A professional black woman in a gray suit stepped out. "Mr. Musk, I'm Jennifer, Mr. Wellington's assistant. Please follow me." Elon stood and walked to the elevator. Jennifer pressed the button for the 15th floor. The doors closed. They rose in silence. "Mr. Wellington is looking forward to meeting with you," Jennifer said. Her voice was polite but cool, professional but distant. "Thank you for arranging this," Elon replied. Jennifer smiled slightly. "I didn't arrange anything, Mr. Musk. Mr. Wellington arranged everything. I just follow his instructions." The elevator dinged. 14th floor, almost there. Elon's heart was pounding. He'd given speeches to thousands of people. He negotiated billion-dollar deals. He testified before Congress. But right now, waiting to face one man in a simple office building, he felt more nervous than he'd ever felt in his life. The elevator slowed. 15th floor. "Mr. Musk," Jennifer said quietly just before the doors opened. "Mr. Wellington is a good man, a fair man, but he doesn't forget. Remember that." The doors opened, and there, standing directly in front of the elevator, was Marcus Wellington. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit. His tie was straight. His shoes were polished. His hands were at his sides, relaxed but ready. His eyes, intelligent, patient, powerful, locked onto Elon's. For a moment, neither man moved. Then Marcus extended his right hand. The gesture was exactly like yesterday. Hand out, palm open, waiting. But this time, Marcus's eyes never left Elon's face. This time, there was no question of whether he would be seen. Elon stepped out of the elevator. He looked Marcus directly in the eyes. He reached out and took Marcus's hand in his. "Mr. Wellington," Elon said. His voice was steady but quiet. "Thank you for seeing me." Marcus's grip was firm, strong. He held Elon's hand for just a moment longer than necessary, long enough for Elon to understand, "I'm here, you see me now." "Mr. Musk," Marcus replied. "Welcome to Wellington Minerals, please come with me." Marcus released Elon's hand and turned. Elon followed him down a hallway. The walls were decorated with photographs, not of Marcus shaking hands with celebrities or politicians, not magazine covers or awards. Instead, the photos showed mines, workers, landscapes, a lithium operation in Bolivia, a rare earth mine in China, a coltan facility in Congo. Each photo had a small placard with information about the location and the people who worked there. "These are your operations?" Elon asked, looking at the photos. "Yes, 23 facilities across 6 continents, over 4,000 employees. Most of them are local workers from communities that other mining companies ignored. I hire people who need opportunities, not people with fancy degrees and connections." They reached a conference room. Marcus opened the door. Inside was a simple table with 2 chairs facing each other. No long boardroom table, no crowd of executives, just 2 chairs. "Please sit," Marcus said, gesturing to one chair. Elon sat. Marcus walked to the other side of the table but didn't sit immediately. Instead, he opened a folder that was already on the table. "Before we begin," Marcus said, "I want to show you something." He pulled out a document and slid it across the table to Elon. It was a detailed report. At the top, it said, "Analysis of Musk Company's Material Requirements 2019-2025. Elon picked it up and started reading. His eyes widened. The report contained everything. Every material Tesla needed for batteries, every rare earth element SpaceX needed for rockets, every component Starlink needed for satellites, quantities, timelines, projected growth, potential bottlenecks. It was thorough, professional, comprehensive, and it was dated 4 years ago. "You've been planning this for 4 years." Elon looked up at Marcus. Marcus sat down. "Actually, longer. That report is just one version. I've been tracking your company since 2015. Since the moment I realized that electric vehicles and space technology would need exactly the materials I controlled." "Why?" "Because I knew eventually we would meet. I knew eventually your companies would need my materials, and I wanted to be ready." Elon set the report down carefully. "Ready for what? To cut me off, to hold me hostage?" Marcus shook his head. "Ready to matter, ready to be essential, ready to be impossible to ignore." He leaned forward slightly. "Mr. Musk, do you understand what yesterday was really about? I disrespected you. I ignored you. Yes, but it was bigger than that. Yesterday, you proved something I already knew. You proved that even genius needs reminders. Even people who want to change the world can still look at another human being and decide they don't matter." Marcus pulled out another document. This one was older, wrinkled, with coffee stains on one corner. "Do you know what this is?" Elon shook his head. "This is my father's job application to Morrison Auto Factory, 1973. He was 22 years old, fresh out of technical school, top of his class. He had recommendations from 3 professors. He had skills that Morrison desperately needed." Marcus's voice was steady, but Elon could hear the emotion underneath. "They hired him, but they didn't hire him for the position he applied for. They hired him as a janitor, because that's what they thought a black man with technical skills should do, clean floors." "That's terrible," Elon said quietly. "My father worked at that factory for 30 years. He eventually moved up to the assembly line, but he never got to use his real skills. He died at 52, never having been seen for who he really was." Marcus looked directly at Elon. "So when you walked past me yesterday, when you looked right through me like I was invisible, it wasn't just about me. It was about my father. It was about every black person who has been excellent and invisible, who has been essential and ignored, who has built power in the shadows because the light was never meant for them." Elon felt his throat tighten. "I'm sorry, truly sorry. I know those words aren't enough, but—" "You're right, words aren't enough, but they're a start." Marcus pulled out one more document. "This is my offer." He slid it across the table. Elon picked it up. It was a A supply agreement for 10 years, materials for Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink. The prices were fair, more than fair, generous even. But there was one section highlighted in yellow. Elon read it carefully. The Wellington Initiative, Elon read aloud. A program to identify and support talented young people from underrepresented communities. Participants will receive scholarships, internships, and mentorship opportunities at Tesla, SpaceX, and Wellington Minerals. Elon looked up. This is what you want, not higher prices, not exclusive contracts. You want to help kids. Marcus smiled for the first time since Elon had arrived. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was something deeper, something that looked like hope mixed with pain. Mr. Musk, I'm already rich. I'm already successful. I already have power. But none of that matters if the next generation has to go through what I went through, what my father went through. Marcus stood and walked to the window. I was invisible for 20 years by choice. I built my company in silence because I learned early that being visible as a black man often means being a target. It means being questioned, investigated, doubted. So I stayed quiet. I built quietly, and I became powerful quietly. He turned back to Elon. But my father never got that choice. He was invisible because people refused to see him. And I've spent every day since he died making sure that when I finally became visible, it would matter. It would mean something. It would change something. The Wellington Initiative, Elon said, looking at the contract again. You're using this leverage not to get rich. You're using it to build opportunities. I'm using it to build tables, Marcus corrected. My father used to say, Marcus, they're not going to give you a seat at their table, so build your own table. And I did. Wellington Minerals is my table, but I don't want to sit at it alone. I want to pull up chairs for everyone who needs one. Elon set the contract down. This isn't just a business deal. This is a mission. Yes, and I need your help. Your companies reach millions of people. Your voice matters in ways mine doesn't. I can provide the funding, but I need your platform. I need you to help me identify brilliant kids who look like me, who come from neighborhoods like mine, who have the talent but not the access. And in exchange, Elon said slowly, you'll restore my supply chains, you'll keep my companies running. I will, but not because I need your money, because I need your partnership, because this mission is bigger than revenge. It's bigger than business. It's about making sure the next Marcus Wellington doesn't have to spend 20 years being invisible. It's about making sure the next Samuel Wellington doesn't die without ever being seen. Elon stood. He walked to the window and stood next to Marcus. They both looked out at Lowe's angels spread below them. I failed yesterday, Elon said quietly. I failed a basic test of human decency. I saw a man standing in front of me and I decided he wasn't worth my time. And the worst part is I didn't even think about it. It was automatic, unconscious. I looked at you and my brain just dismissed you. I know, Marcus said. That's what makes it so dangerous. You're not a bad person, Mr. Musk, but you've moved through the world with privilege for so long that you don't even see it anymore. You don't see how you decide who matters and who doesn't. And most of the time, those decisions hurt people you never meant to hurt. How do I fix that? Elon asked. How do I make sure I don't do it again? Marcus turned to face him. You can't promise you'll never do it again. You're human, you'll forget. You'll get busy. You'll slip back into old patterns, but you can promise to try. You can promise that when someone like me stands in front of you, someone you don't recognize, someone who doesn't fit your mental picture of important, you'll pause. You'll look, you'll see. I promise to try, Elon said. And I promise that if you trust me with this initiative, I'll treat it like it's the most important thing I do. Not because I owe you, but because it is the most important thing. Marcus extended his hand again. This time it wasn't a test, it was an offer, a partnership, a beginning. Elon took Marcus's hand. They shook firmly, looking each other in the eye. We have a deal, Marcus said. But before you sign that contract, I need you to understand something. This isn't charity, this isn't me being nice. This is justice. This is me making sure that the system that hurt my father, that hurt me, doesn't hurt the next generation. I understand, Elon said, and I'm honored to be part of it. Marcus released his hand and walked back to the table. He picked up a pen and signed the contract. Then he slid it to Elon. Elon sat down. He read through the contract one more time, every clause, every detail. Then he picked up the pen. His hand hovered over the signature line. He looked up at Marcus. "I need to say something first." Marcus waited. "Yesterday I was moving too fast, too focused on who I wanted to see, too certain that I knew who mattered, and I missed you. I missed seeing someone extraordinary standing right in front of me, but today I see you. I see 20 years of work. I see the lessons from your father. I see the power you built in silence. And I see a man who's using that power not to destroy me but to change the world. Thank you for that. Thank you for being better than I was." Elon signed the contract. Marcus picked it up and placed it in the folder. "The Wellington Initiative starts in 30 days. I already have a list of 50 young people from Detroit, Los Angeles, Houston, and Atlanta. Brilliant kids who need opportunities. Your teams at Tesla and SpaceX will receive their information next week. I'll personally review every application," Elon promised, "and I'll make sure they get real opportunities, not token positions, real work, real mentorship, real chances to grow." "I believe you," Marcus said, "because yesterday taught you something money can't buy. It taught you what it costs to be careless with someone's dignity, and that's a lesson you'll carry forever." They stood and walked to the door together. As they reached the hallway, Elon stopped. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Yes." "Why give me a second chance? You could have destroyed me. You could have sold to my competitors. You could have watched everything I built fall apart. Why didn't you?" Marcus smiled. The real smile this time. Warm, genuine. "Because my father taught me that dignity is more important than revenge. Because I'm not interested in tearing people down. I'm interested in building people up. And because I saw something in your eyes during our phone call this morning. I saw genuine regret, not just business regret, human regret. And that told me you could learn, that you could grow, that you could be part of the solution instead of part of the problem." Elon felt tears in his eyes again. He didn't hide them. "Thank you for seeing me even when I couldn't see you. That's what invisible people learn, Mr. Musk. We learn to see others because we know what it feels like to be unseen. And now you know too. Don't forget it." They walked to the elevator together. When the doors opened, Marcus extended his hand one final time. "Partners?" Marcus asked. "Partners," Elon agreed. They shook hands. Then Elon stepped into the elevator. As the doors began to close, he looked at Marcus one last time. "Mr. Wellington." "Yes." "Your father would be proud of you." Marcus's eyes filled with tears, but he smiled. "I hope so. Everything I built for him." The elevator doors closed. Marcus stood alone in the hallway. He walked back to his office slowly. Jennifer was waiting. "How did it go?" she asked. He signed. "The Wellington Initiative starts in 30 days. Jennifer's face lit up. "That's wonderful. 50 kids are going to get opportunities they never dreamed of." 50 kids in the first group, Marcus corrected. "But this is just the beginning. This is the table my father told me to build, and now we're going to fill every seat." Marcus walked to his desk and pulled out the old photograph of him and his father. He held it gently, looking at his father's face. "We did it, Dad," Marcus whispered. "We built the table, and now we're pulling up chairs for everyone who needs one, just like you taught me." He placed the photograph back in his desk drawer. Then he sat down and opened his laptop. There was work to do, 50 applications to review, 50 young lives to change, 50 chances to make sure the next generation wouldn't have to be invisible. Outside his window, the sun was beginning to set over Los Angeles. The city was beautiful in the golden light. And for the first time in 20 years, Marcus Wellington felt truly seen, not just by Elon Musk, but by himself. Because he had taken the pain of being invisible and transformed it into power. He had taken the lessons from his father and built something that mattered. He had built a table, and now the real work could begin. 3 weeks passed like a quiet storm. The contract between Wellington Minerals and Musk's companies was signed. Supply chains were restored. Tesla's factories hummed back to life. SpaceX resumed production on their rocket engines. Starlink satellites moved forward on schedule. Wall Street relaxed. Investors breathed easier. Stock prices climbed back up. But Marcus Wellington wasn't thinking about stock prices. He sat in his Detroit office, his real office, the one he kept in his hometown, surrounded by folders, 50 folders. Each one contained a life, a story, a dream waiting to happen. Jennifer walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You've been reading those applications for 6 hours straight. You need a break." Marcus looked up. His eyes were tired but bright. "Did you read Destiny Freeman's application?" "The girl from Cody High School." "Yes. She taught herself computer programming using library computers because her family can't afford a laptop. She built an app that helps elderly people in her neighborhood order groceries. She's 17 years old, Jennifer. 17. And she's never had a real computer of her own." Marcus's voice cracked slightly. "She reminds me of my father. Brilliant, resourceful, invisible to everyone except the people who actually know her." Jennifer sat down. "That's why we're doing this, for kids like Destiny." "It's not enough," Marcus said suddenly. He stood and walked to the window. Outside, Detroit looked cold and gray. Winter was coming. 50 kids, that's amazing. That's life-changing. But there are thousands of kids like Destiny out there. Thousands of young people who could change the world if someone just gave them a chance. "We have to start somewhere," Jennifer reminded him gently. "I know, but I want to make sure we start right. I want to make sure this isn't just charity. I want it to be something real, something that lasts." Marcus turned back to the desk. He picked up another folder. "Jamal Carter, 16 years old, from Houston. His father is in prison. His mother works 2 jobs. Jamal is teaching himself mechanical engineering by taking apart and rebuilding cars in his apartment parking lot. His teachers say he's the smartest student they've ever had. But his guidance counselor told him to consider trade school instead of college because college might not be realistic for someone in his situation." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You know what that means, right? It means they looked at a black kid from a poor neighborhood and decided he wasn't college material. They decided his situation defined his potential." "What are you thinking?" Jennifer asked. She knew that look on Marcus's face. "I'm thinking that 50 kids isn't enough. I'm thinking that internships and scholarships aren't enough. I'm thinking we need to build something bigger." Marcus walked back to his desk and pulled out a blank piece of paper. He started writing, fast. His pen moved across the page like he was racing against time. Jennifer watched quietly. When Marcus got like this, focused, driven, unstoppable, she knew to just let him work. After 10 minutes, Marcus looked up. "What if we didn't just give them internships? What if we gave them everything?" "What do you mean, everything?" "Full scholarships, not just for college, but for everything. Laptops, internet, books, housing if they need it, mentorship from professionals in their fields, summer programs, study abroad opportunities, everything a rich kid takes for granted." Marcus's eyes were blazing now. "And what if we followed them? Not just through college, but through their entire careers. If Destiny wants to start her own tech company, we help her. If Jamal wants to become an engineer, we connect him with the best programs in the country. We don't just open the door, we walk through it with them." Jennifer's eyes widened. "Do you know how much that would cost?" "I have $200 million, Jennifer. I didn't build Wellington Minerals to buy yachts and mansions. I built it for this exact moment." $200 million for 50 kids. That's $4 million per student. "No," Marcus shook his head. $200 million is just the start. I'm going to build an endowment. I'm going to make sure this program runs forever. And I'm going to challenge other wealthy people to contribute. If I can do this, others can too." Jennifer was quiet for a moment, then she smiled. "Your father really did teach you well. You're not just building a table, you're building a whole restaurant." Marcus laughed. It felt good to laugh. "Maybe, but first I need to present this to Elon. He's part of this now. He needs to know what we're really doing." "When is he coming?" "Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, here in Detroit. I want him to see where I come from. I want him to meet Destiny and Jamal and the others. I want him to understand that these aren't just names in folders. They're people, real people with real dreams." The next day, Elon Musk's private jet landed in Detroit at noon. A car picked him up and drove him through the city, past the abandoned factories, past the neighborhoods that had been forgotten when the auto industry collapsed, past the signs of poverty and struggle that most wealthy people never saw. At exactly 2 o'clock, Elon walked into Marcus's Detroit office. It was smaller than the Lowe's Angels office, older, but somehow it felt more real, more honest. Marcus was waiting. "Welcome to Detroit, Mr. Musk." They shook hands, comfortable now, respectful. "Thank you for inviting me here," Elon said. "I've never actually spent time in Detroit before, just passed through." "Most wealthy people do," Marcus said without judgment. "They see the decay and the poverty and they keep driving. They don't see the people, the resilience, the potential." Marcus gestured to the conference room. "I want to show you something." Inside the conference room, the walls were covered with photos and documents. 50 faces, 50 stories. The first class of the Wellington Initiative. Elon walked along the wall slowly, reading each story. Destiny Freeman, Jamal Carter, Sophia Rodriguez from Lowe's Angels, who wanted to be an aerospace engineer. Marcus Johnson from Atlanta, who was teaching himself chemistry in his grandmother's kitchen. Keisha Williams from Detroit, who wanted to study medicine but couldn't afford SAT prep classes. "These are incredible kids," Elon said quietly. "Every single one of them." "Yes, and every single one of them has been overlooked, underestimated, told they're not good enough or smart enough or that college might not be realistic for them." Marcus stood in the center of the room. "But here's what I realized last night. Internships aren't enough. Scholarships aren't enough. We need to do something bigger, something that actually changes the system instead of just helping a few people survive it." He pulled out the document he'd written the night before. "I'm proposing that we expand the Wellington Initiative. We give these 50 students everything they need. Full rides to any college they get into, technology, housing, books, study abroad programs, mentorship from professionals in their fields. And we don't stop when they graduate. We follow them through their entire careers. We become their support system, their network, their foundation." Elon took the document and read it carefully. His eyes widened as he saw the numbers. This is massive, the cost alone." "I'm investing $200 million to start," Marcus said. "And I'm building an endowment to make sure it lasts forever. But I need your help, Mr. Musk." "What kind of help?" "3 things. First, I need your companies to provide real opportunities, not token positions, real work where these kids can learn and grow and contribute." "Done," Elon said immediately. "I'll make sure every department at Tesla and SpaceX knows these students are priorities." "Second, I need your voice. You have millions of followers. You speak and people listen. I need you to help me recruit other wealthy people to contribute to this endowment. This can't just be my money. It needs to be a movement." Elon nodded slowly. "I can do that. I'll talk about it publicly. I'll challenge other CEOs to match my contribution." "Your contribution?" Elon smiled. "You didn't think I'd let you do this alone, did you? I'll match your 200 million, 400 million total. That should get people's attention." Marcus felt his throat tighten. Thank you, that's incredible." "It's the least I can do. What's the third thing?" Marcus walked to the window. "The third thing is harder. I need you to change how you see people, not just in this program, everywhere. I need you to remember that moment at the investor event. Remember what it felt like to realize you'd walked past someone important, and I need you to carry that with you forever." Elon joined him at the window. They both looked out at Detroit. "I think about it every day," Elon admitted. "That moment, your hand extended, me walking past, it haunts me." "Good, let it haunt you. Let it remind you that genius doesn't announce itself. That brilliance doesn't always come in the package you expect. That the person you ignore today might be holding something you need tomorrow. Or," Elon added quietly, "they might just be a person who deserves basic respect regardless of what they can do for me." Marcus smiled. "You're learning." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Marcus spoke again. "I want to introduce you to some of the students. 5 of them are here today. They don't know why yet. They think they're just coming to meet me. But I want them to meet you too. I want them to hear directly from you that you believe in them." "I'd like that," Elon said. Marcus led Elon to another conference room. Inside, 5 teenagers sat nervously. They all looked up when the door opened. Their eyes widened when they saw Elon Musk. "Everyone," Marcus said warmly, "I want to introduce you to Elon Musk. He's my partner in the Wellington Initiative, and he's here because he believes in you." A tall girl with braids stood up. "You're really Elon Musk. like the actual Elon Musk. Elon smiled. I'm really me and you are. Destiny Freeman, I'm a huge fan of Tesla and SpaceX and everything you do. Destiny is the programmer I told you about, Marcus said to Elon. She taught herself coding using library computers. Elon's face lit up. Really? What languages do you know? Python, JavaScript, and I'm learning C++ right now. I built an app for my neighborhood. It helps elderly people order groceries and schedule rides to doctor appointments. That's amazing, can I see it? Destiny pulled out her phone, an old phone with a cracked screen, and showed Elon her app. He looked at it carefully, scrolling through the code, asking questions. The other students watched nervously. After a few minutes, Elon looked up. This is good work, Destiny. Really good. Have you thought about studying computer science in college? I want to, but I don't know if I can afford it. My mom works at a grocery store. We don't have money for it. Marcus interrupted gently. Destiny, that's why you're here. The Wellington Initiative is going to pay for your college, all of it. Tuition, housing, books, everything. You're going to study computer science at the best school that accepts you, and you're never going to have to worry about money again. Destiny's eyes filled with tears. What? Are you serious? Completely serious, Marcus said. You and these 4 other students and 45 more like you are going to get everything you need to succeed. Not because of charity, because you earned it, because you're brilliant, because you deserve it. A short boy with glasses spoke up. Why us? Why are you doing this? Marcus knelt down so he was at eye level with the students. What's your name? Jamal Carter from Houston. Jamal, let me tell you a story about my father. Marcus's voice was soft but strong. His name was Samuel Wellington. He was the smartest man I ever knew. He could fix any machine, solve any problem. But the world never saw him. They looked at his skin color and decided he wasn't important. He died without ever getting the opportunities he deserved. Marcus stood up. I'm doing this because I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want Destiny to die without building the amazing things she's going to build. I don't want you to die without becoming the engineer you're meant to be. I'm doing this because my father taught me that invisible people can build undeniable power. And now I'm using that power to make sure you never have to be invisible. The room was completely silent. All 5 students were crying now, so was Marcus. Even Elon had tears in his eyes. Destiny stood up and walked to Marcus. Without saying anything, she hugged him. Then Jamal joined the hug, then the other 3 students. They all stood together, crying and hugging and holding on to hope that they'd never dared to feel before. Elon watched from the side. He understood now. This wasn't just a program. This wasn't just about money or opportunities. This was about seeing people, really seeing them, recognizing their worth, giving them the dignity they deserved. After a few moments, Marcus gently separated from the students. Okay, everyone, we have a lot of work to do. College applications to prepare, essays to write, campuses to visit. But first, I want you to spend some time with Mr. Musk. Ask him anything you want. Get to know him, because he's going to be part of your journey too. Marcus stepped back. Elon stepped forward. So, he said with a smile, who wants to talk about Mars? All 5 hands shot up. Marcus quietly left the room. He stood in the hallway, listening to the excited voices of the students asking Elon questions about rockets and electric cars in the future. He pulled out his phone and looked at the photo of his father. Dad, he whispered, I wish you could see this. I wish you could meet these kids. I wish you could know that your lesson worked. That building power in the shadows led to this moment. That being invisible for 20 years meant I could make 50 kids visible forever. He wiped his eyes and put his phone away. Jennifer walked up beside him. That was beautiful, she said. What you said to those students. It was the truth. Everything I've built, I built for moments like this. What's next? Jennifer asked. Marcus smiled. Next, we announce the Wellington Initiative publicly. We tell the world what we're doing. We challenge other wealthy people to join us. We make this bigger than just me and Elon. We make it a movement. When? Next week. Press conference in Los Angeles. I want all 50 students there. I want the world to see their faces. I want everyone to know their names. No more invisible brilliance. No more overlooked genius. From now on, these kids are going to be seen. Jennifer nodded. Your father would be so proud. Marcus looked through the window into the conference room. Elon was drawing rocket designs on a whiteboard, explaining orbital mechanics to 5 teenagers who hung on his every word. They were laughing, learning, dreaming bigger than they'd ever dreamed before. Yeah, Marcus said quietly, I think he would be. Auditorium at UCLA was packed, every seat filled. Cameras from major news networks lined the back wall. Reporters crowded the aisles with notepads and recorders. Outside, a crowd watched on large screens set up on the lawn. Marcus Wellington stood backstage, adjusting his tie one more time. 6 months had passed since that meeting with Elon Musk. 6 months since the Wellington Initiative became real. And today was the official launch celebration. Jennifer appeared beside him. 5 minutes. Are you nervous? Marcus smiled. Terrified, actually. I've spent 20 years avoiding cameras. Now I'm about to stand in front of 500 people and tell my story. You don't have to do this, Jennifer reminded him. We could have Elon do the speaking. No, Marcus shook his head. This is my table. These are my students. The world needs to hear from me, not through someone else. No more being invisible. Through a gap in the curtain, Marcus could see the front rows. All 50 students sat together, wearing new clothes that the program had provided. Destiny Freeman sat in the middle, her new laptop bag on her lap. Jamal Carter wore a suit for the first time in his life. Sofia Rodriguez held her mother's hand tightly. Behind the students sat their families, parents who had worked multiple jobs, grandmothers who had raised these kids alone, siblings who had sacrificed so their brothers and sisters could study. All of them were here. All of them were crying already, and the program hadn't even started. In the third row sat Elon Musk. Next to him was his mother, May. She had insisted on coming. When Marcus had met her earlier, she'd hugged him and whispered, "Thank you for teaching my son to see." A young woman with a microphone walked onto the stage. The crowd quieted. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official launch of the Wellington Initiative. Today, we celebrate 50 extraordinary young people who represent the future of innovation, leadership, and change. Please welcome the founder of Wellington Minerals and creator of the Wellington Initiative, Marcus Wellington. The crowd erupted in applause. Marcus took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The lights were bright, the applause was loud. For a moment, Marcus felt overwhelmed. But then he looked at the students in the front row, at Destiny's proud smile, at Jamal's tears, at 50 faces full of hope and gratitude and determination. And Marcus remembered why he was here. He walked to the microphone. The applause slowly faded. The room became silent. "Good afternoon," Marcus began. His voice was steady despite his racing heart. "My name is Marcus Wellington, and for most of my life I was invisible." He paused. Let the words sink in. I was invisible when I graduated top of my class and couldn't get promoted because I didn't fit with the team. I was invisible when I walked into investor meetings and people assumed I was someone's assistant. I was invisible when I stood in front of Elon Musk 6 months ago and tried to shake his hand, and he walked right past me like I didn't exist. Gasps from the audience. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled frantically. But I learned something important from my father, Samuel Wellington. He taught me that invisible doesn't mean powerless. He taught me that you can build something so essential, so undeniable, that eventually people have no choice but to see you. Marcus walked to the edge of the stage, closer to the students. My father worked 3 jobs. He was brilliant. He could fix any machine, solve any problem. But the world never gave him the opportunities he deserved. He died at 52 years old without ever being truly seen for who he was, and that broke my heart. Marcus's voice cracked. He didn't hide it. So I made a promise at his grave. I promised that I would build the kind of power he never had. Not to hurt people, not to get revenge, but to make sure that the next generation of brilliant young people would never have to feel invisible, would never have to wonder if they matter. He turned to face the 50 students directly. You matter, every single one of you. Destiny, your coding skills are extraordinary. Jamal, your understanding of mechanics is remarkable. Sophia, your passion for aerospace engineering is inspiring. All of you, every single one of you, deserves to be seen, to be supported, to be given every opportunity to become who you're meant to be. Marcus walked back to the microphone. The Wellington Initiative is not charity, it's justice. It's a correction to a system that has overlooked brilliant young people simply because of their skin color, their zip code, or their family's income. Starting today, these 50 students will receive full scholarships to any college they get into. They'll receive laptops, books, housing support, and mentorship from professionals in their fields. They'll have access to study abroad programs, summer internships, and career guidance. And we won't stop supporting them after graduation. We'll follow them through their entire careers. The audience applauded. Marcus waited for quiet. But this is bigger than 50 students. This is about building a table. My father used to say, Marcus, they're not going to give you a seat at their table, so build your own table. And I did. Wellington Minerals is my table, but a table is useless if you're sitting at it alone. Marcus gestured to the students. These 50 young people are the first chairs at this table, but there will be more. The Wellington Initiative has an endowment of $400 million, thanks to my contribution and a matching contribution from Elon Musk. The audience gasped. More applause. That endowment will grow. We're challenging other wealthy individuals and companies to contribute. We're building something that will last forever, something that will give thousands of young people the opportunities they deserve. Marcus paused. But money isn't enough. Opportunities aren't enough. What these students need most is to be seen, to be recognized, to be told that they matter not because of what they can do for us, but because they're human beings with infinite potential. He looked directly at Elon, who sat in the third row. 6 months ago, Elon Musk walked past me. He dismissed me without a second thought. And the next day, he learned that I controlled materials his companies desperately needed. I could have destroyed him. I could have cut him off permanently. I could have chosen revenge. The room was absolutely silent. Everyone leaned forward. But I didn't choose revenge. I chose something harder. I chose to teach. I chose to show Elon what it feels like to be invisible. And then I chose to give him a second chance. Because change doesn't happen through destruction. Change happens through understanding, through empathy, through one person teaching another person to see. Marcus smiled. And Elon learned. He really learned. He didn't just apologize with words. He apologized with action. He committed his companies, his resources, and his voice to this initiative. He chose to be better, and that's why he's here today. Elon stood up. The cameras swung toward him. He looked emotional, his eyes red. Mr. Wellington, may I say something? Elon asked. Marcus nodded. Of course. Elon walked to the stage. Marcus stepped aside, giving Elon the microphone. 6 months ago, Elon began, his voice shaking slightly, I made a terrible mistake. I looked at Marcus Wellington and decided he wasn't worth my time. I walked past him without shaking his hand, without listening to what he had to say, without seeing him as a person. And the next day, I learned the cost of that arrogance. Elon looked at the students. But Marcus didn't just teach me a business lesson. He taught me something more important. He taught me that genius doesn't announce itself, that brilliance doesn't always come in the package I expect, that the person I ignore today might be extraordinary, might be essential, might be exactly who I need. He turned to Marcus. You could have destroyed me. Instead, you gave me a gift. You gave me the chance to see my own blindness. You gave me the opportunity to be part of something meaningful. And you gave these 50 students the opportunities they deserve. Thank you for that. Thank you for being better than I was. The two men shook hands. The audience erupted in applause. Cameras flashed like lightning. When the applause died down, Marcus took the microphone again. I want to introduce you to someone, he said. Destiny Freeman, would you please come up here? Destiny stood up, looking shocked. She walked slowly to the stage, her legs shaking. Marcus put a hand on her shoulder. Tell everyone about your app, Marcus said gently. Destiny looked at the crowd, at the cameras, at 500 faces watching her. She took a deep breath. My name is Destiny Freeman. I'm 17 years old. I'm from Detroit. And I taught myself programming using library computers because my family couldn't afford a laptop. Her voice got stronger as she continued. I built an app called Neighbor Help. It helps elderly people in my community order groceries and schedule rides to doctor appointments. I built it because I watched my grandmother struggle after my grandfather died. She didn't know how to use smartphones or computers. She couldn't get to the store easily. And I thought, someone needs to fix this. Destiny smiled. So I fixed it, with code I learned from free YouTube videos, with a design I sketched on notebook paper, with determination I learned from my mother, who works 2 jobs and never complains. She turned to Marcus. Mr. Wellington found me because my computer science teacher sent him my application. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And now, because of the Wellington Initiative, I'm going to MIT next fall. I'm going to study computer science. And I'm going to build technology that helps people like my grandmother, people who get forgotten, people who need someone to see them. The audience gave Destiny a standing ovation. She walked back to her seat, crying and smiling at the same time. Marcus called up 3 more students. Jamal talked about his dream of designing electric cars. Sophia talked about wanting to work at SpaceX. Marcus Johnson talked about researching cancer treatments because his aunt died of breast cancer. Each story was more powerful than the last. When the last student sat down, Marcus returned to the microphone one final time. These students represent something bigger than individual success. They represent a future where talent is recognized regardless of where it comes from, where brilliance is supported instead of overlooked, where young people don't have to be invisible while they build their dreams. Marcus pulled out a photograph from his pocket, the old picture of him and his father in the garage. This is my father, Samuel Wellington. He died 23 years ago. He never got to see me succeed. He never got to know that his lessons would lead to this moment. But I believe he's watching somehow, and I believe he's proud. Marcus's voice broke. Dad, I built the table, just like you told me, and I'm filling it with brilliant young people who deserve to be seen, who deserve to matter, who deserve everything we can give them. He looked at the audience. To everyone watching, I have a challenge. If you're wealthy, contribute to this endowment. If you're a teacher, identify the brilliant students in your classroom who need support. If you're a parent, teach your children to see people, really see them, not just the ones who look like them or come from their neighborhoods. See everyone. Marcus held up the photograph of his father. This is what invisible excellence looks like. This is what overlooked genius looks like. This is what wasted potential looks like. Samuel Wellington died without the world ever knowing his name. But because of him, 50 students are here today. And because of these 50 students, thousands more will follow. He placed the photograph carefully in his jacket pocket, close to his heart. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for seeing these students. And thank you for helping me make sure that no brilliant young person ever has to feel invisible again. The crowd erupted. Everyone stood. The applause seemed to shake the building. The 50 students stood together, holding hands, crying and laughing and celebrating. Marcus walked off the stage. Backstage, Jennifer was waiting with tears streaming down her face. That was perfect, she said, hugging him. Your father would be so proud. I hope so, Marcus whispered. I really hope so. Later that evening, after the cameras left and the reporters filed their stories and the crowd dispersed, Marcus stood alone on the empty stage. The auditorium was dark now, silent. He pulled out his phone and opened the video of his father, the one he watched whenever he needed strength. He pressed play. His father's voice filled the empty space. You're going to do great things, son. Things I couldn't do, places I couldn't go. And when you get there, when you have the power I never had, I want you to remember something. Don't use your power to hurt. Use it to teach. Use it to lift. Use it to make sure the next kid in the garage with his father doesn't have to watch him cry. Marcus closed his eyes. He could almost feel his father's presence in the room with him. I did it, Dad, Marcus whispered into the darkness. I used my power to lift. I built the table. And now those 50 kids, they're going to build their own tables. They're going to pull up their own chairs. They're going to change the world in ways we can't even imagine yet. His phone buzzed. A text from Destiny. Mr. Wellington, I just got accepted to MIT early admission. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for seeing me. I'm going to make you proud. Marcus smiled through his tears. He typed back, you already have. Go change the world, Destiny. More texts came in. Jamal got accepted to Georgia Tech. Sophia got into Caltech. One by one, the students were being accepted into top universities. Their dreams were becoming real. Marcus walked to the edge of the stage and sat down, his legs dangling over the side. He looked out at the empty seats where hundreds of people had sat just hours ago, where his students had sat, where their families had sat, where Elon had sat. Marcus understood something profound. This was never about revenge. It was never about proving he was better than Elon or anyone else who had overlooked him. It was about transforming pain into purpose, about turning invisibility into impact, about making sure his father's death meant something. The handshake that never was, Marcus said aloud to the empty room, led to handshakes that changed 50 lives, and those 50 lives will change thousands more. That's how you build a table, Dad. Not with anger, with love. He stood up, brushed off his suit, and walked toward the exit. Tomorrow there would be more work to do, more students to support, more lives to change, more tables to build. But tonight, Marcus Wellington, the man who had been invisible for so long, finally felt seen. Not because the world recognized him, but because he had used his power exactly the way his father had taught him. He had built something that mattered, something that would outlast him. Something that would make sure the next generation would never have to choose between being visible and being powerful. They could be both. As Marcus walked out of the auditorium into the cool Lowe's Angels night, he whispered one last time to his father, "Your lesson worked, Dad." Invisible power became undeniable change. And it all started with a handshake that never was, and a man who refused to stay invisible forever. Marcus smiled. The world was different now, and 50 brilliant young people were about to make it even better. The table was built, the chairs were filled, and the future was brighter than Marcus had ever dared to dream. So that's the story of Marcus Wellington, the man who taught Elon Musk to really see people. A story that reminds us all that kindness and dignity are more powerful than revenge. Now I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. I love hearing from viewers all around the world. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps us spread these messages of kindness to more people who need to hear them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories that inspire, teach, and remind us what really matters. The next video appearing on your screen right now has another incredible story you won't want to miss. Click on it and let's continue this journey together. Thank you for watching, and remember, everyone you meet deserves to be seen.